Have you always wanted to play around with having a more fun, personal work persona, but you're afraid of seeming unprofessional? Working remote is the perfect time to reinvent yourself. Let's talk about how. Hello, my name is Tucker Johnson, and this is Remotely Possible, where we celebrate and support remote workers around the globe with practical, real advice. No bullshit. No hashtag digital nomad travel porn here. Just interesting, practical advice. Today I had to get out of the home office because we had some cleaners coming, so I evacuated to Madison Park here. It's one of my favorite neighborhoods here in Seattle to work remotely from. It has a park for the kids when I'm on daddy duty. It has great restaurants. It's got a cozy Starbucks with decent Wi-Fi. And unfortunately, we're in the middle of a pandemic, so I can't go to any of those places. And so since the sun is shining, I found a nice cozy spot here on the beach. And it may be winter in Seattle, but I can certainly pretend that it's summer in Tahiti. Basically, workplace professionalism comes down to two things: intimacy and respect. Intimacy is how much of our private, personal selves we share with our job and with our coworkers. Respect is how well we treat those around us. The appropriate level of intimacy and respect we should display at work is going to depend upon our specific circumstances, of course. But one thing is certain: as our teams go remote, traditional office dynamics are being disrupted. Office communication is becoming more intimate as we literally invite our coworkers to peek inside our homes every single time we turn on a webcam. While there still may be a need for respect in the workplace, it is often shown as a much less formal way now that we're moving to remote teams. Sometimes it is frustratingly difficult to figure out where we need to draw that line between professionalism and informality. As many of us are going remote, it is a good time to experiment with our personal brand and try new things. So if you want to explore your level of professionalism at work, there are some things that you can do. Let's take a look at some quick tips that you can use if you want to test the waters of informality without being too risky overall. Ask your spouse. You act differently at work than you do at home. Period. We all do. Most of us don't realize it though, which means that we are honestly baffled when our spouse tells us that we sound like an asshole in meetings, or maybe they suggest that we need to speak up more. In 2020, many of us have had the fortunate opportunity to work from home alongside our family and significant others. Fun! This means that they have surely gotten an opportunity to witness our work persona, and they can be a good source of feedback for us. Just make sure not to go overboard here. Remember that our spouses, roommates, family, whomever we live with, they know us intimately well, but they have no idea about what is going on at our company. They are clueless as to ongoing projects, they don't know anything about office politics, so we need to take any feedback that they have with a grain of salt. Record yourself. Listen to yourself speak. If you have not been fortunate enough to have a significant other to be quarantined with for the last year, then there's still something that you can do. You can act as your own judge. Record yourself on work meetings. Make sure that you record the video as well. Watching these recordings may be an eye-opener to you as you meet the real you for the first time. However, sometimes it is also useful to record ourselves in less formal situations, such as when we are video calling with our friends and family. Then, compare how we act in a work setting versus a personal setting. The difference will be even more jarring. Copy those you admire. Do you have any role models at the office? You should. If not, you should probably think about switching offices. But that's a different topic. One of the most reliable ways to grow is to find those you admire and then study them. Emulate their behavior. This can be tricky when working remotely because we don't have such an easy access to others in the office, but it can still be done. Just remember that we still need to be true to ourselves. It is all well and good to adopt desirable traits from other people that we might admire, but we shouldn't try to force ourselves to be something that we're not. We will find our own unique communication style that strikes that perfect balance between formality and friendliness. Remember, informality is not an excuse to be a slob. As a last note, I believe it is important to point out that even though many teams may have a very informal culture, this does not mean that we have an excuse to be a complete train wreck. When working from an office, these lines are a little bit more clear. If the office allows drinking, then fine. Just don't get drunk every morning before noon. If the office has a relaxed dress code, then great. But it doesn't mean you should wear torn tank tops to the office every day. While working remotely, professionalism takes on different forms. For example, your company may have flexible working hours, but that doesn't mean that you can abuse it by slacking off and going to the movies every day. You might have the luxury of joining meetings from anywhere, but that still means that you need to show up on time with your webcam on. In an office, people dress to impress. On remote teams, people have meticulously maintained backdrops for their webcam calls. While professionalism may look different with everybody working remotely, it is still important. Lastly, remember to have fun, experiment, try telling a joke, get out of your comfort zone. It can be extremely frustrating to figure out where to draw that line between professionalism and being friendly. We all have to figure it out for ourselves. But as more and more teams go remote, it is a good time to experiment with our own personal brands. It's never too late to reinvent yourself, so don't be afraid to push your limits. Well, thank you for joining me for another installment of Remotely Possible. I'm going to pick up the show here and maybe move on to that favorite Starbucks that I was telling you about. If you found this helpful, consider subscribing to this channel. I'm trying to post videos every single week, so make sure that you sign up for those notifications so that you're going to get notified when new videos come out. I'm gonna get the show on the road and go get me some coffee.